Welcome all, it's Chuke here from Chuke's Outdoor Adventures. Well, I have really enjoyed this series talking about grizzly and brown bear attacks that were thwarted or stopped by pistols, and then discussing the whole bear spray versus firearms, especially 10 millimeter. This is my Glock 20 10 millimeter. I'm a big fan of it. This is the Gen 5. I also like the Gen 4, and this is my bear spray. I carry both. I was recently on a little day hike and I had a firearm and bear spray on me. So I'm not anti-bear spray, but over and over, as we shall see, the media keeps saying that the only thing you should be doing is carrying bear spray. And there is also a section of the population that says that too. And I have come to the belief that they do not want us to own firearms at all, because they're very against firearms, don't think that you should use it in bear country, and that this is the only choice, which it just boggles my mind, because we've seen over and over how successful even handguns can be. Of course, you want a 12 gauge or a hunting rifle, that's way better, but if all you have is a handgun, people have done it. There's been several this year that have actually killed charging brown bears with their 10 millimeters. Just unbelievable. But anyways, we're going to look at a story of the bear spray and a story of a 10 millimeter and kind of talk about it. So this, I think it was some ABC news source or something. I'll throw it up on the screen. But this is veteran Shane Patrick Burke. He survived deployments in Iraq, a brain tumor, and he was on a honeymoon with his wife at Grand Teton National Park in Wyoming when he encountered a new kind of danger, a grizzly bear weighing about 400 pounds with 4-inch sharp claws. Now, 400 pounds is kind of on the small to mid-range for a grizzly bear. Of course, they can get up to 800, even 1,000 pounds. We've seen the brown bears up here in Alaska. So really interesting story. All he had was bear spray. So this is the story talking about how bear spray, in a way, it saved him in this encounter. He saw it, and anyways, they came in really close to this bear, ran right into it. He wanted to get out his bear spray, but this bear just attacked him and started thrashing him around. He felt his wrist pop. He kind of covered his head and his neck. And just as he thought the bear was biting down on his skull, luckily the bear bit into the can of bear spray and got a taste of it and decided didn't like it and ran off. And oh boy, it was a happy ending to the story there. They survived. Park rangers interviewed them. They didn't have to euthanize the bear, so it was kind of a happy ending. And at the end of the story, ABC News experts say Shane Patrick Burke did everything right during the bear attack. If a grizzly bear charges or attacks you, experts recommend playing dead by lying flat on your stomach and protecting your head and neck by using bear spray when possible. No mention of a firearm. There are some people that have, we've seen tons of footage of people standing their ground against bears. May not be a good idea, but in some cases on videotape it works. The bear thought twice before, if you make yourself look big. Sometimes they say to raise your jacket or your hands. But in this case, he got lucky, and the bear spray saved him because the bear bit into it. Now, we have another story which has both. It has a Glock 20 10 millimeter, and it also, bear spray was also involved in the story. So we have both. Now, this is really cool. I like this story a little bit better. This is the story of Sam Kazar, and he's got a cool picture with his Glock 20 10 millimeter. Now, what I like about this story is the guy says he loves hunting. So this is kind of like me. I don't do much except hunt. It's a priority in my life. I have my professional career, I have my family, and I hunt. I don't do softball league or anything else except home chores and shooting my bow and hunting, or thinking about hunting. Now, what's cool about this story is he did some research. He researched bow hunting, of course, and then he researched what pistol to get for bear protection, and he decided on the Glock 20. And not only did he choose a Glock 20, he began training with it. He began drawing and dry firing over and over at night. And this is the best thing you could ever do. Just train with your pistol. And that's exactly what he described. In the evenings, he would just draw and dry fire and practice with it. So this is what he said. I went to Shields and bought a Glock Model 20 in 10 millimeter because that is what I had researched to be the best overall choice in bear country. I can't really argue with him there. Sure enough, they had one, and I bought the only box of ammo they had. 180 grain full metal jacket. So he didn't have Buffalo Bore hard cast. He didn't have Underwood extreme penetrators. He had ball ammo. I wish he would have told us what brand, because some of the ball ammo is actually a lot snappier and actually up to 10 millimeter specs if you get like the SIG ammo, while some is weak and is like as powerful as a Smith & Wesson, you know, a 40 Smith & Wesson. So that's pretty interesting. What is also cool is he got, kind of similar to a chest holster, he got a marsupial gear harness for his binoculars that also had an area for his Glock 20, so he kept it on his chest. So he did some research into that. And I always talk about how, you know, the guides up here made the chest holsters popular with their Glock 20s, and that's why I started talking about it a decade ago, and that some people fall back when they're being charged by a bear, their feet flip up and they either blow their toe off or blow a hole through their foot. That almost happened here. He actually had to aim around his foot, and he intentionally missed his foot as he falled back and the foot popped up. So that's interesting because, of course, Kim Woodsman blew one of his toes off. My dad knows that guy personally. He also killed a brown bear successfully with his Glock 20 10 millimeter. And I love this part. From that moment on, I treated that pistol the same way I do my bow. I shot it every day or every other day, and I practiced with purpose. I'd go down to my little room, put my chest rig on, pick a spot in the wall, and I just practice drawing and practice getting my grip and practice obtaining my target. I do dozens of reps of those drills, and then I make sure the weapon was clear and dry fired it dozens of times. Then I'd come back the next day or two later and do it all over again. I did that all summer along with shooting my bow, and that's what I believe saved his life. So towards the end of the summer, I was able to buy one more box of ammo. So I had 100 rounds. He started doing live fire practice in the backyard. And so these guys did bring pepper spray, but it's interesting. This is literally what he says. So about pepper spray, I watched a lot of videos and read a lot about which is better, pepper spray or a gun. From that, I determined that my gun was going to be number one and pepper spray will be my backup. Good thinking. From my experience, pepper spray may work some of the time, but a firearm is going to work every time you pull the trigger. And I could not agree more. And like I said, pepper spray worked for my uncle. Black bear was slowly walking at him in the middle of the trail here in Alaska. He pulled out his pepper spray, sent a big cloud. The bear was like 20 yards away. The bear sniffed it and just took off running. But it was not a charge. We talked about those guys in Idaho, those young bull hunters that got charged, and they said the bear spray would have done nothing at close range like that with that big old mean grizzly coming right at him. So he went out to Wyoming. His buddy Jared came with him as backup. Went on to hunt elk, and they went to opening. They heard a bunch of rustling and the loudest roar they've heard, and he yelled bear. The next thing I realized that I had my bow in my left hand, my pistol in my right hand. I don't remember drawing my pistol And as soon as I realize I'm in the position out from the trees, in front comes this bear. He first shot around in front of it in the ground to scare it off. But then, this is really interesting, he said that it didn't stop. And he said, you know what a Labrador looks like when it's running with purpose, and it's got its legs up and its ears are pushed all the way back and it's not going to stop? That's what this bear was doing. Its ears were pushed up and it was running at me, and he knew it was not going to stop. It was going full speed. It was not a bluff charge. So he just started putting rounds into it. He knew he hit it twice because he could see the fur move. So he was getting hits on it, shot like 6 or 7 times. And then he realized he's falling backwards and his feet flip up, just like I'm always describing. And he purposely kind of compensated, he said, so he wouldn't shoot his foot. So that was really interesting. So instead of making that last lunge, the bear stops and turns and runs away. It was getting to lunge again, but the shot stopped it, and then he took another shot into it, and as it's running away. So as he gets up, his buddy is saying, back up, back up, back up, and he immediately tastes and smells pepper spray of a cloud that he stood up into. So then he says, let me rewind a little bit. As soon as the bear comes out of the trees, my buddy, he's a little behind me and off to the left, sees the bear come out of the trees. He takes the safety off the pepper spray and deploys the spray. There's enough of a breeze that the spray goes about 3 or 4 feet and comes right back into my buddy's face. It never reached the bear. Let me read that again. Oh, am I flagging myself? The bear spray again? It never reached the bear. All you need is a little breeze. You're going to incapacitate yourself, and then you're just going to be an easy target for the bear. If you have a firearm, you won't be able to use it. So this has happened. So, and then the guy had a weapon. He drawed and fired 2 shots at the bear. His first shot is right as the bear's on its front legs, about ready to jump on me. He hit it in the chest. His second shot missed. So long story short, the bear, the 10 millimeter stops the bear. It walks into the trees where it came from real slow with its head down and starts to moan. Now, if you've ever heard of a bear's death moan, it's this horrible wail. Black bears will do it too when they're dying. They do this really sad wail. So that is pretty sad. And but what a story. So in this story, the bear spray obviously failed, but the 10 millimeter, the Glock 20 10 millimeter saved the day. So really interesting. I just love it. Let me know what you guys think. I am actually pretty upset that the media overall keeps saying, you know, what to do, carry bear spray, and no mention of firearms. I actually believe they don't want us to own firearms, and that's just part of the narrative. So what is also interesting is we've had a couple fatal polar bear attacks, it looks like, in the last year or so. One of them was in Canada, a worker at a radar station in the Canadian Arctic by the Nasitak Corporation, which owns the facility. The polar bear killed the person, and we also had a woman and a small child here in Alaska, I believe it was this summer, killed by a polar bear. Now, polar bear attacks on humans are fairly rare. We don't see them happen here in Alaska as much as we do brown bear and grizzly bear, which could be as much as 1 or more a year. Some years we don't have any, but lately it's been at least 1 a year that I can think of where it's fatal. So one thing that I found very interesting, and I've read this before, but if anybody has any information about this, please let me know. I have read that the military naval unit in Denmark, the Serious Sledge Patrol that patrols, I think, Greenland, they were issued Glock 20 10 millimeters, and that is what they carry because of polar bears specifically. So I've heard that multiple times. People have mentioned it in the comments on my channel. So if anybody sees an article about that, please email me or message me the article. I really appreciate everybody sending me all these articles. It's been really fascinating. And if you have any accounts, firsthand accounts of a pistol saving you from a bear, please send them my way or get in contact with Dean Weingarten with ammoland.com, as he is running that database, which has proved that handguns have been overall very successful to deter and stop bear attacks. So thank you for tuning in. I'll have another video up tomorrow morning. It's Chuke, your friend in the field.
My name is Chuke. I like to trade my guns just for fun, but now I have none. Oh, look, get shot by a bear, but I don't care. I got a 10mm. Chuke's Outdoor Adventures. Watch you all die every time.